Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 130. We've got a whole bunch to talk about, a bunch of exciting things to talk about and stuff like that, so let's just jump right into it with Week in Review. This is where I talk about what's been going on in the warehouse, things that are coming up, things like that. And first off, this weekend is our 4th anniversary, the 4th anniversary of Mecha Warehouse. As a name, as Mecha Warehouse, the business technically existed before that, but it was April of 2019 when we formally became Mecha Warehouse, and all this kind of started. So it's kind of an exciting time. It's kind of incredible to think about that it's really been 4 years and we're going into our 5th year now. To celebrate though, we are going to be hosting our anniversary sale. So the code MECHABDAY 2023 will get you 15% off all in-stock items all weekend long until Sunday at midnight Eastern time. And I probably don't really need to say this, but we don't typically do 15% off all in-stock items very often, so this is kind of a big deal for us. So hopefully you can take advantage and get some good stuff and celebrate with us. To make things more interesting though, rather than do just the discounts, we're also going to have some freebies, some Mecha Warehouse merch that we're going to throw in with orders over certain amounts. So anything from $50 to just under $100, $99.99, will get a free poster. These are going to be folded rather than rolled like we usually ship them, because an 18-inch long rolled poster is kind of a pain to ship. It'll make things a little bit more challenging. But you'll get a poster. If you order from $100 to $199.99, so just below $200, you'll get a patch, and orders $200 or more will get a hat. Could be a beanie, could be a snapback, could be either color. You won't really get a choice. It's just gonna be luck of the draw. But we're gonna give away all those different freebies based on what your order total is. Keep in mind those totals are after the discount, but before shipping. So factor that in. And it's also while supplies last. We only have so many of these posters, so many patches, so many hats, etc., that are earmarked for the giveaways. So make sure you jump on those orders earlier rather than later, so you can make sure you get whichever freebie that your order is qualified for. That said, let's move on to the next subject, which is Mecha Warehouse Presents Redacted. This is going to be our next contest. It's going to be a blind box challenge, different from our past contests in that no one's going to know what they get, but everybody's going to get the same thing and build the same thing. It's going to be a $25 buy-in, and for that $25, you're going to get a kit. It's going to be a kit from Kotobukiya, and that's the only hint I can give you. It's not something that we've had like a ton on the shelf here though, so it's something that we're bringing in for this contest. We've got some on hand that we got in a week or two ago, and we're going to be getting some more in based on the orders for the contest. That said though, everybody's going to get the same kit. The main rule is that everybody, whatever your build is, it has to be recognizable as that original subject when the kit is finished, or when your entry is finished. Then that will kind of keep it somewhat of a level playing field. We're going to have 2 categories, out of the box and open. Out of the box is basically just paint and decals. You're not allowed to bring in any other additional parts. You can use out of the other decals. I don't think it comes with its own decals, the kit that we're using. You can use paints. You cannot, for example, though, cut up the runners and use them for parts. We want to keep it a level playing field so that everybody in that category is working with the same stuff and not have it be a huge race to the top in terms of craziness and things like that. The open category, on the other hand, you can do whatever you want. You can bring in other kits, you can bring in other parts, you can plot plate and do all the customization, all the stuff that you want, and should result in some really interesting entries. And I think it's going to be interesting in general that everybody's going to be building the same thing for the contest, because it's going to really have to highlight creativity in order to separate yourself from everybody else. There'd be none of this, I happen to have a much more interesting kit to start with, and any of that kind of stuff. We're all starting with the same base kit. In terms of prizes though, there's going to be a first, second, and third place for each of those two categories with a $75, $50, or $25 gift card prize as well for each of those. We will also have a Kotobukiya prize table. Thank you to Kotobukiya. They sent us a big box full of Frame Arms Girls and Begami device kits to use as prizes for this contest. So we're going to have a big old pile of those. You'll probably see that put on screen here. So what some of the choices are. The first place winners from each category will get to pick first, then the second, then the third, and we'll flip a coin to determine whether the winner from which category, the first place, which one of them goes first in terms of picking. We're also gonna have a community selected prize. We'll do some public voting, and that will constitute a seventh pick from that prize table as well. So we'll have kind of a popular vote, and we're gonna have some of the judges play along as well. The judges will be members of the team here in the warehouse, and we'll just playing for fun, but we'll have the community vote on which judge wins as well, I think. As far as the boxes, they're going to go live on April 28th on the website. That's next Friday, a week from today when this video is published. They're going to be on sale through the weekend or until we run out. We're going to go and order the remaining quantity we need, but there is a max number, so the faster you get in on that, the more likely you are to actually have your entry. We expect that we will get them in probably 2 or 3 weeks after that order deadline, and then we'll ship them out. We're expecting the deadline for the contest to be July 28th. There is a chance that something gets delayed in shipping, in which case we reserve the right to extend that deadline in order to make sure that everybody has enough time. But yeah, that's basically the details of the contest. So hopefully you'll be interested in participating. Let us know down in the comments if you have any questions. There will be a link down in the description with all the rules and all the details, and expect the sale of those boxes to go live next Friday. And okay, next up, we had some Shopify issues in the last week or so, namely with some of the internal search functionality, like searching through orders, for example. So when we went to ship the mystery boxes last week, we noticed that when we searched for the SKU, for example, in the orders, which is our pretty standard way of finding all the orders that should have that particular mystery box on it, it was coming up a few orders short. We found them manually. We figured out which ones were getting lost, but for some reason the search functionality is not quite functioning the way it's supposed to. We believe that may have happened with certain other pre-orders, so we're just going to throw out there, if you've not received a pre-order, haven't received a shipping notice on a pre-order that you think we should have all the items for it, feel free to reach out. We'll always be happy to take a look. We never ship, if a pre-order has more than one pre-order on it and some of them haven't arrived, it won't ship until they've all arrived. But typically, if it's all here, it should be out by now. Just throwing that out there. Also, interestingly, I was talking to the landlord a few weeks ago and casually mentioned the gravel outside the garage side door, and they paved that on Tuesday, which is nice. It makes rolling the carts out to load and unload packages way easier, not having to try to roll the cart through loose gravel, which is kind of awesome. A couple other things to mention. The May mystery box went up earlier this week. The theme this time is armor. You can also check out those details down the link below. We've got a slightly less available than we did in the past, so if you want to make sure you get one, definitely jump on that sooner rather than later before they all sell out. And then finally, before we jump into pre-orders, we did have 2 new early birds go up this week. The PG Unleashed, which may or may not be sold out by the time that you see this, and the PG Astray Red Frame. Both are expected to arrive, along with some other stuff, obviously, in a few weeks. So great chance to lock yours in before they come in, because restock day, they're going to go really fast, I think. So that said, let's move on to the rest of the pre-orders. So I already mentioned the 2 early birds. We got a bunch of Kotobukiya and a few other things as well. Go through Kotobukiya first. First is the Hexagear Agni-Rage. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's another Hexagear kit, pretty expensive, larger kit. I believe this is not just a reprint, it's actually like an up-rev version. I'm not sure exactly what they changed off the top of my head, but I believe it is a revised product. There's the MSG playing base type A. It's kind of interesting, clear base for displaying, multiple effects. Really, it looks like a great option for, flying pose or, a more complex scene than just a single kit. There's the Frame Arms Girl hand scale Magatsuki, the Zoids Sturm Tyrann, the Kotobukiya, the Tank Roku, and the Tank Roku custom version. These look kind of like the Nachin, just with a more rounded look to them. Look kind of cool, kind of a little bit of a cute look to them. Those might be interesting. And then we had two others from other manufacturers: Square Enix, Nier Automata Plastic Model Kit 2B and 9S. I believe this has both characters in the same box, and I think they both can be built. It's not like a build one or the other. And then the Annulus Akane Shinjo Articulated Plastic Model Kit, so another girl figure kind of kit, if you're into those kinds of kits. So that's it for pre-orders. Let's move on to team picks. This is where members of the warehouse team here at the warehouse, I guess more accurately, show off some of their recent builds and talk about them.
So this week I brought in the real grade Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. It's a mouthful. It's the same one I brought to ValleyCon the other week with the color react paint job that I did to it. I decided to build this kit based on the can of paint that I found at the hobby store, and I thought this one would do a good job with all of its curves and angles. The real grade, this was my first real grade, it kind of almost turned me off of real grades because of all of the super tiny parts in this particular kit, but I've picked up the Titans edition of the Mark II, so I'm going to give that another go pretty soon to see if I'm going to actually really like the real grade series.
Hey everybody, my team pick this week is the Master Grade Age 1. Really cool kit. Love how they added a lot of venting into the mold for the armor parts, and overall it was a pretty slick build, so definitely one to add to the protagonist suits if you want one.
Go Bruins!
Go Bruins! Go Bees! Woo!
All right, so we're back from team picks. Time for Q&A. So this is where I answer questions from you, the viewer. If you have a question you want answered, post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next time. First up, Plastic Crack 305. Hey guys, I'm enjoying the team picks thus far. I have a question for Nick. In your time as a builder participating in the Gunpla community, have you ever encountered any toxic situations or any drama of any sort within the Gunpla community? Also, have you had the chance to train with Dolph Lundgren and Kyokushin, since rumor has it he's a fellow practitioner? So the first question, yes, of course. Anytime you put more than 3 people in a room, there's going to be some amount of drama. There's always friction between people. It's always going to happen, especially when you got a big, large, diverse community with different ideas, different people, things like that. So there definitely is. There's definitely drama. There's definitely toxic situations. I'm not going to talk about any of them specifically, but I've definitely encountered them. I just don't want to feed into any more drama. We don't need more drama in the community. We need less. Thankfully, it's relatively rare. I think for the most part, everybody gets along pretty well. But it's always going to be there. As far as Dolph Lundgren, I personally have not, but I know and have friends that have. I think there's a camp out in the West Coast, probably just before the pandemic, maybe. So I've definitely got some friends. So you could say in the whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, I'm a degree of freedom away or whatever, 1 or 2 links away from Dolph Lundgren. Maybe I'll meet him at some point, but I guess we'll see. All right, next question. Plastic Germs question: has the topic of a Mecha Warehouse Club or Elite member come up yet, where an individual would pay a yearly membership in return, higher discount, or free shipping after X amount of orders? That's a great question. It's definitely something that has been thought about. I'm curious, since the question is brought up, what people think of something like that and what kinds of things that you would want to be included or would make sense for a membership like that. We've thought about doing Mecha Warehouse Prime, so to speak, where it would be free shipping. It's really hard to do that, especially without order minimums. We might be doing a free shipping after a certain dollar tier at some point. Maybe we could tie that or lower the dollar tier for our members, so to speak. I don't know what else that we would add, but it's definitely something I would be interested in if customers are interested in, and if we could provide enough value to be worth the the member fee or whatever you'd want to call it. Fun question. Would you rather be able to travel to the past or to the future? That's a great question. It's kind of a thinker, and I think that it really depends on a whole lot of follow-up questions. If I go to the past, can I change it? Can I not change it? If I go to the future, is it guaranteed to be that way? And then I can use that information for my own success, I guess. There's a lot of things where I'd be curious about things that have happened in the past and would want to know about them. Theoretically, I could go back and fix mistakes I've made and things like that, which would be interesting. But also, I would love to be able to travel to the far future and see what happens in, say 500 years from now, and see what happens to the world and human civilization, all that stuff. And so yeah, it's a hard one to pick for sure. But I guess everything being equal, I guess I'd go with that. I'd like to see if we actually achieve like significantly like interstellar space travel and stuff like that. Would be really cool to find out. Okay, Dolfo, if you are or ever were a gamer, can you remember your first console and game? Showing my age, but I started with NES, Mario, Duck Hunt, and Ninja Turtles. So I definitely would consider myself a gamer, at least I was. I don't spend a whole lot of time playing games now because I'm just so busy and I've got other priorities in my life these days. But for me, the first console was the Sega Genesis. So first game was probably technically, Sonic 2. The one that stands out in my mind, though, that I probably played the most earliest was Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist from Konami. It was a good game. I remember playing through that with friends over and over and over again, changing difficulty levels, stuff like that. And it was just a good, like, side-scroll fighting game, and I really enjoyed it. So I think that's it for questions. So like I said before, if you have a question you want answered, you can post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next time. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.